There is no proper way to play. People are too different for that. There's a structure to winning, yes. There are concepts that are really good, but there are as many ways to win. There are many top players in this game that are of equal skill level that play wildly, vastly different. There is no one correct way to play a fighting game. Mena and Tokido are vastly different players with vastly different approaches, and they are both very good. Daigo is very different. Mago is different. NuckleDu is different. Everybody is different. The mentality that there's only one way to get the job done and everything else is wrong stagnates people. Putting your own spin, your own thought process into playing a game is important. Yes, there are concepts that are universally good. Neutral concepts, like game concepts, because the game requires things of you to win. Like, you must anti-air. You must play neutral to win. Yeah, sure. But there's different styles. To accept that concept, you must accept that your style is not the only way. Leading toward that thought process made me a much better player. We're talking about learner's mentality and winning mentality. To me, a learner's mentality is like, I simply want to know more and be better at the things I do know than I was before. Every time I play a match, I learn one new thing. The reality is, Sharpen, if they're playing like that and it's working against you, there's something that you are not doing that is expected of you to beat it. For example, let's say an overhead is reactable, like Urian's forward heavy punch or his standing heavy kick charge, and you're not reacting to it. That is an oversight on your part. That is an example of what I mean by this is expected of you to win. You got hit by something that was avoidable because you didn't know. That doesn't mean you suck. It means you didn't know and you need to practice it. Some people have a learning mindset, but they try to learn too much. You work on a painting and you get halfway through the painting, not even halfway, like a quarter. You do like a quarter of the painting. And then you're like, you know what? I actually want to draw a donut. You start painting a donut. You get a quarter way through a donut and you're like, you know what? I want to paint a car. Start painting a car. You get done with a quarter of a car. You know what? I want to paint. This goes on forever and ever. And what do you have at the end of this? You have a gallery full of paintings that have never been finished. You have a bunch of skills you've never actually mastered because you keep moving on to the next thing before you're actually done with it. You must master the skill before moving on. One skill at a time. One issue at a time. One thing required of you at a time. Don't try to work on every single fundamental in a match. It's too much. Remove everything else for that one match, for that one round, until you got really good at it and you understand it really well. Okay, now we move on to the next thing. Maybe you spend a whole match walking forward and standing still and doing stand heavy punch and forward heavy punch and your light kick buffers, learning where they go at. Maybe you spend a lot of games doing that. If you miss some anti-airs while you're doing that, that's fine. When you're first learning to whiff punish, for example, it requires a lot more mental energy at first to just getting your head around it at first, that maybe you don't DP anti-air like you're supposed to. Every time you're trying to whiff punish, you're focused on whiff punishing and you miss an anti-air, don't punish yourself. Don't be like, okay, I got to work back on those anti-airs again. Shelve them for now. Don't worry about it. They'll come back on their own when you get second nature comfortable with whiff punishment. One thing at a time. Understand it's part of a process. A winner focuses on himself. He doesn't need to think about being better than other people or put others down or whatever. He's focused on his own improvement. He will improve so much that he will naturally defeat anyone in his path. If you have confidence that you have trained your hardest and you've given it your best, then you have confidence that I will win. Sometimes you don't, it's not even about thinking you're stronger or knowing that you're better. You just know I will win. It was like that tournament against Hitman, the Battle for the Bag, the $450 one I played. I knew I was going to win that tournament. And it wasn't about arrogance. It wasn't about looking down on them. I respect them greatly as strong opponents. And I took them very seriously when I played. But I knew I would win. I knew that my efforts would show. Being a winner means staying focused. Being a champion means not getting distracted by irrelevancies around you. Not losing sight of your learner's mentality. Never giving up, never being disheartened by anything. If you lose a match with a champion's mentality, you move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. No individual loss or victory will ever stop you. A true champion, they will practice win or lose no matter what. It's not about hating losing. It's about not ever letting a loss hit you the same way more than once. Even if you lose 10 times in a row, you push on to the 11th match, the 12th match, the 20th match, the 40th match, the 100th match. It doesn't matter. Combined with your learner's mentality to grow a little along the way each time until that turns from 9 losses, 10 losses, 40 losses to 9 wins, 10 wins, 40 wins. You are going to make mistakes in these mentalities sometimes. You're going to slip. You're going to be tired of it. You're going to be like, man, fuck this. I certainly have. But you have to learn, once you've blown off your steam, how to resaddle the horse. Get back on the horse and keep going. It's funny, I heard this in Dota. If you guys know what the champion Clinkz from Dota, he has a saying, and the moment I heard it, I loved it. I fell in love with the saying. It's such a great saying. It is better to run than to curse the road. The moment I heard Clinkz say that, I was like, Clinkz, you got a winner's mentality. I like you. I like you a lot, Clinkz. It is better to run than to curse the road. What does that mean? You have a road in front of you. You could curse the distance. Be like, I don't want to do this. You could curse the road. Or you could just run. Just run. Don't worry about the distance or how difficult it is. Just run. And you will mentally overcome and surpass every hurdle that tries to get in your way. You will simply bulldoze through them. Just run. It is better to run than to curse the road.